football kid in the back seat, sitting in the car seat, was singing this song. All I want is food in my belly and love in my family. Okay? Like, I feel fear is cute. Okay? I feel fear is a dare. I want to push fear, use fear to move forward. Number one, I won't say anything to myself that I won't tell my best friend. Very important.
What I was 10 years back is very different from who I am right now. Hi, everyone, and welcome back to yet another edition of Thinkly Talks. Good evening if you're from India, and good morning if you're from the US. So, we've got an extremely special guest today, someone who I would like to think is the living definition of what it means to defy the odds. We have none other than Arjun Sen on our podcast. Hi, sir, it's amazing to have you here with all of us, and the community is incredibly lucky to hear from you today.
Absolutely, truly my pleasure. And thank you. And thank you for being so prepared. Thank you.
Yeah, so for all of our viewers sitting at home, a little bit about Arjun sir. So Arjun sir is living proof that mindset can move mountains. At the age of 32, he was diagnosed with a terminal form of cancer and was said that he was given only 100 days to live. But he not only beat those odds that happened over 25 years ago. Since then, he's built a global career in marketing. He founded Zen Mango. He's led brand strategy for some of the world's biggest names in hospitality. And his life story inspired the 2024 Shujit Sircar's film, I Want to Talk, which starred none other than Abhishek Bachchan. From being a storyteller to a strategist to a change maker, Arjun Sir's journey is one of grit, grace, and rewriting what's impossible. But it's safe to say that his proudest title, I think, is father. This isn't just a story of survival. I think it's also a story of mindset, willpower, and what it truly means to overcome the hurdles in life and rise above the odds. So, Arjun sir, thank you so much, like I said, for gracing our platform with your presence and for sharing such an inspirational story so close to you with all of us.
Thank you. And I just want to add something when you were talking about it gives me goosebumps. But the most important thing are the people in my life. Okay. That journey, even though you give me credit, I'm all for taking credit, a branding guy. But every time, for every point, anything, if we want to dissect, there were people in my life who didn't give up. And I'm truly grateful to be here with you here, celebrating every person who has brought me here.
Yeah, I mean, there's no bigger support system than family and friends. So it's great that, during your time of hardship, you were able to lean on to such key people and you have been thriving ever since. So to start things off, I just wanted to, maybe get to know a little bit about how your diagnosis came about regarding the cancer, like at that point in life, where were you? And how did this one moment kind of flip things completely?
Sometimes in life, we move forward thinking we are invincible, and march fast. And a big aha for me was I was in an amazing corporate meeting presenting this big idea. I didn't even know I was spitting blood. And from that morning when I woke up, my decision was which jacket to wear to have a wow presentation. 5 hours later, I'm in a hospital on a wheelchair for the first time. And I realized what lack of total control meant. Like now, even if I have to go to the bathroom, I have to raise my hand and ask the nurse to take me. And it just hit me hard. And then when the doctors put the diagnosis in front of me, mind you, I have never seen death before. I've never been at a funeral before. Like from that mindset, hearing less than 100 days, it was not even a wake up call. It was like, I don't know what's happening. And I think the smartest thing I did at that point was just to vanish. I vanished for 2 days, hid in my house. I just wanted to let some light come to me. Like I just literally was hiding, hoping if I wait long enough, either this will go away, it was a bad dream. And of course, that's the time my daughter came and gave me the vision of life.
Yeah, I mean, I can't imagine having to hear such a kind of devastating news. And like you said, no one, I think, deals with death on a day-to-day basis, even if someone has perhaps even attended a funeral or has lost someone close to them. I think a diagnosis which is literally about you and a life which eventually gets numbered. I mean, that number is fixed, right? We all know that we're going to die someday, but the proximity of that becomes very, very scary. So, what was the first thought that came to your head, honestly? Once I think you kind of made peace with the fact that this is something you will have to, deal with and process that kind of information.
Yeah, in the as I started leaning on, first, of course, my daughter gives me the mission of life. Okay. 3-year-old comes and asks me three tough questions. What is dying? Are you dying? But most importantly, the most important question was, if you die, who will dance at my wedding? Okay. And Aishwarya, some light bulb went on. Like, I realized how goofy am I that I am worried about my life ending problem. And this is the life launching thing for my daughter. My daughter at 3 is worried about the father-daughter dance at her wedding. Okay. And that gave me the light. And on the business side, what I realized was, if you and I are working on a business, there's always an idea. Like, if you and I push ourselves hard, we know somebody somewhere someday will figure this brilliant idea. Why
Mhm.
not you and me today? And that's the part where, moment with my daughter's vision, I started asking the question, is there a hospital somewhere and a doctor who has a better plan which takes me beyond 100? Okay, that's it. And the moment I asked the question, friends started coming over. My home literally, and this is 1996, like pre-internet, my home became a medical records distribution center. Like, dining table to everywhere, people had stack one, like it was like an assembly line. I was literally the person serving chai and everything to people. My friends are sending package, calling hospitals, this, that. And that energy was amazing. Like, not a single person was living the life supporting less than 100-day Arjun. They were all in the world of forever Arjun. And that, seeing that, the smile, the love, oh, that was powerful.
I think, yeah, that's really sweet. And I guess, because of your strong willpower, you also were able to see the bright side to things. Like you mentioned, your for your daughter, it was just the beginning of her life. Or, the mindset that people are in regarding you also becomes like a nice motivation to, relook things from a different lens and kind of approach it in a more positive sense.
That word you said is so powerful, is relook. Okay. Many a time we worry about the smallest and the pettiest of things. Okay. Once you realize you have everything to lose, you
Hmm.
start seeing the world from totally a different angle and you start understanding what is important. If I push this a little further, there are two things you and I have, which is exactly the same amount of wealth. You and I both have 24 hours in a day, and you and I have the same 26 alphabets to create any word we want. So now the whole question is, how do we spend our time? And once the perspective changed, light bulb went on. And the same thing on words. Like, words are so important. A simple word that you say can enrich my life, jumpstart, get me excited. On the other side, it can bring me down. So I right away realized, with that perspective, the power of every minute and every word, because I was at the receiving end on amazing words and amazing time from friends. Just like the 100 days from the doctors really hit hard, the positives really uplifted. So the positivity of word and time was very big after that.
How has your experience of fatherhood helped you in this experience? Because you credit your daughter for this, and of course she was so young when it happened. and you still consider her as, the reason why you were able to lift yourself out of this extremely tough time. So, how does a 3-year-old become the source of strength for someone like you?
First of all, for every father who has a daughter, daughters are one of the most precious, coolest things that can happen to a dad. Okay? It changes us totally. Like, just to give you an idea how insensitive Arjun was before, if a friend of mine came over with kids and there was a diaper burst on the carpet, I would look at by saying, who are these guys? Why can't they just, get their kids to poop outside? Okay. From there, with my daughter there, I had Jack on both my sides of my jacket. There were marks of her drooling, and I would show them as badges. Like, that's the transformation Raka did to me. But the thing that happens is, even when daughters talk, you have to listen. And that's the only thing I want to give myself credit was, for a 3-year-old, when she was talking, I heard. Those were wake-up calls. And to be totally truthful, for 6, 7, 8 years of my life, I was absent. Like, I had to move corporate world, this, that, everything. I was stealing time from her. But what I learned was, as a father, we don't have a user manual. It's a job for which there's no training. We're worried about failing. All you have to do is be present. Like, I'm the student who is in class every day, like, to the point where if my daughter calls, I pick up the phone every time. Like, that's it. Be present every time. And her confidence, I think, she's a very evolved soul. Like, when she was tiny, I used to tell her, you're 8 years old, but actually you're 55, acting like 100 years old. Like, she acted like my grandma. But I think, the wisdom of our daughter is always there, and our children and others. We just have to respond to those wake-up calls.
So, in a way, from her little babbles to her little, thoughts, anything that she said just became a word of affirmation for you and helped you unlock that inner power, inner strength.
Some was affirmation, some were wake-up calls. I'll give you an example. 2.5-year-old. Now I'm on a corporate journey. Like, every week, I see her only for the weekend. One time, as her mom was driving me to the airport, the goofball kid in the back seat, sitting in the car seat, was singing this song. All I want is food in my belly and love in my family. Okay. 2 years old. Look at the timing. It's like a Shah Rukh Khan Bollywood movie. That's what happens. But later on, I would cry thinking about, to me, I'm taking time away, and all this kid is reminding me. Priority is clear. Food in the belly is first. But then love in the family. And, it took time to understand what she was telling, that she just needs her dad. That's it.
Yeah, I think the simplest of words become the best carrier of the most powerful message you need at times. Like, don't overcomplicate it.
Yeah.
And hearing that from a child feels even more special and surreal because they're innocent and they're oblivious to all of the overthinking and anxieties and burdens of the world that we tend to carry with us as we grow older.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's really
Simplicity that
sweet.
you talked about is so important in innocence. Imagine for a second, if you were my baby sister and I haven't heard from you, I can just call and say, hey, Aishwarya, everything okay? Miss you, girl. Just want to make sure you're okay. It's a simple conversation. But as adults, we complicate it. It's like, instead of touching the nose this way, we just go around and touch the nose. No, it's a simple conversation.
You often say that, like the word cancer survivor is not something you resonate with. It's cancer winner, which I think is very oddly but nicely apt for this. And I just want to know what made you reframe that phrase in that particular way. And, like the pre-cancer Arjun and the post-cancer Arjun, obviously there's a huge amount of growth and perspective change that has happened. So could you elaborate on that a bit?
Yeah, I need to give credit to an amazing nurse of mine called Nancy.
Mhm.
And as I was getting into this world of how to survive, okay, she one day had asked me randomly, Arjun, once we give your life back, what would you do? I didn't understand the question. And finally, when I told her three things, that I will write a book, work for a philanthropy, and run a race, we negotiated half a marathon. What she did was she flipped my life. Okay. Imagine your Dr. Aishwarya Iyer. Before, what would happen is when I would come to you, you would look at my documents and I would see in your eyes very
Mm.
little. Now, Nancy would bring Arjun in and introduce Arjun as Arjun Sen, future cancer winner, future author, future philanthropist, and future half marathon runner. Okay. The moment she would say that, the energy would change. Even Dr. Aishwarya Iyer would drop her folder and look at me by saying, that's nice. What kind of book? Like the conversation changed about future Arjun. I even wanted that future Arjun. And that was the aha that Nancy gave me. The gift was life is about journey forward. Okay. For a survivor means your best days are behind. You survived. Okay. But to me, I really feel, why did we survive? Like, it's not me, it's we. My team put so much effort into Arjun surviving for
Mm.
something bigger. And that's the part where winner has an attitude. Survivor to me means I was lucky, I was begging and it fell on my life. No, my team worked hard. Every person, prayers, thoughts, love. So I really think that once we are here, winner always reminds me, forward thinking, that we have something big to do together in life. Instead of going back by saying, remember what happened, we survived, yay, good order. No, what will we do?
I think you are incredibly lucky to find such a person in, during that time, because I completely agree with having the right person who says the right thing at the right time, and the whole energy of the room changes. Because even, you may have the most supportive people, but if they're not able to emote it well, you still
Mhm.
feel lonely, or you feel like, this is something which is impossible to cross, and the problem seems bigger than it is. So yeah, and wow, Nancy is an incredible nurse. She's great at her job, and it's always good to feel seen, which is what I think she did for you. She just didn't reduce you to one cancer patient. She saw that you are much more than that, currently and even prospectively. I mean, by saying that, of course, you have the potential to outlive this and, do philanthropy, write a book, run for all you care, like your life doesn't end here. There's a lot more to explore. So that's really, really sweet to have. And I'm glad that you had that kind of support, apart from obviously your daughter and other people who, are generally your well wishers, like your family.
I want to add a little bit there. I also feel that help always comes to us, but you need to show you're ready. Okay. If you have a do not disturb sign on your door and the door is closed,
Mm-hmm.
help will come, but no, may not knock. Okay. I also, that's the part where I just want to give myself a little credit that I could appreciate Nancy when she came in. I was positive to allow her positivity to reflect. Okay. But that I think is very important, is all these amazing, I call them Sherpas because they help our load, lift our loads, move us forward. You just have to make the ground ready for the Sherpa. Okay. We have a little work to do for help to land. It's just like a helipad, clean the helipad so the helicopter can land. So I just feel that that is very important because help is there. But
Yeah.
if you show readiness, positivity, because negativity pushes help away, positivity brings it to you.
That's a very valid point you raised, because I feel like no matter how much support you have or how much people are willing to help you out, if you're not ready to take that, it's pointless.
Yeah.
Which is why they say, right, like you can help those who want help themselves.
Mhm. That's very wise.
So, generally, in any tough period during life, not specifically motivated by a diagnosis of cancer or anything else, I feel like I have noticed myself that a lot of people, fall back on something which they're familiar with for a sense of comfort. And another is they try to seek out something new, which they think will renew their energy and kind of restore that purpose that they have been looking for, or some kind of sign, that just tells them that this is fine. I can overcome this. I just need to be patient, and I just need to collect my thoughts and kind of, find my solution around it. It's not the end of the world. So, this seeking out activity can vary from, spirituality, from religion, or from, doing acts of service. Like philanthropy again becomes, like an extension of that. You want to give more so that you can receive that kind of energy as well in your life. So, for you personally, apart from your family, what do you credit as maybe, this is something that I actively sought out, maybe not before, but during or after I beat my cancer, and it just stuck around, like it healed me in a way, whether it's tangible or intangible, but it did have an impact.
It's a great question because I've not thought about this. But one of the things I realized was this really showed me the power of the gift I was getting from people. I realized if a word from Nancy, my daughter, and so many other people can change my life, what do I have to give others? Because that pass forward is very important. Life is not about take, take, take. Life is about give back. Okay. So I realized that I have been blessed that I know marketing. So I created this thing called Yourness. Yourness is a personal branding. Okay. So what I decided was I will never sell this. So anybody who comes to me, I would get on an online call, and my team, we have been on Zoom for way before when it started. I would take people through their personal branding, okay, to help understand that there's this thing called Aishwarya-ness. Anything you do, like 10 people can do this interview. Aishwarya will do this interview, Aishwarya-ness. What defines you? Where can the brand go? Because each person is a brand, okay? It's the perception that matters. And that became the fun thing. I did maybe close to 100, 200, I have no count. None of them were paid. I don't want to make money. But to me, it felt good to hear people see where they can go. And some of those people over the years will reach back. Some have gone to the highest corporate jobs you can think of. But what I just feel was, at least me being in one of those moments in their life, selfishly, I got the best seat in the house to see them in their journey forward. But meeting all these people, seeing their energy really helped. So to me, I really feel that what you're talking about is finding something to do outward. And also that outward has to be with people. If the outward to me personally was an alone thing, it didn't work. I needed energy. I needed to recharge from other people's energy. And that was very powerful in that journey. So I really am glad you took me there today. Thank you.
Thank you. I just, like I said, this is something I've generally noticed. And hearing your thoughts on this would have been like a nice addition and kind of a unique perspective also, because like you said, everyone is an own, everyone is their own brand. They bring something unique. They bring something which is specific to them. And that's what differentiates them from the rest of the lot. So yeah, I was just
Yeah.
curious to know that.
I want to add something is if you have seen the movie, I want to talk.
Yeah.
The last line in the movie was spoken by me. Okay. Shujit Sarkar was very kind to record a little statement. And my
Mm-hmm.
last line is there's nothing called average. Okay. And that's one of the things we forget, that each one of us, we are not average. We are unique. We are biologically asymmetric. No two of us are the same. Think our fingerprints are different. Our retina scan is different. Like we were born different. Like billions of people on the planet, we are different. So for us to appreciate the difference, be who I am. Arjun cannot be Aishwarya. Aishwarya cannot be Arjun. Okay. Understanding that Arjun can learn from Aishwarya and be a better Arjun, the best Arjun. And I think that's what makes us that brand. And feeling when we wake up every morning with excitement that the world today needs Arjun, the world today needs Aishwarya. I think that is what gets us going. But we have to see ourselves not as average. We are different, unique. Wow.
Yeah, I agree with that. And I feel like everyone gets caught up in the competition, or the rat race, like we all nickname it, of daily things. But
Mhm.
in the midst of that, we kind of neglect the very few things or the qualities that make us unique. And everyone does, to an extent, have this fear of being mediocre, unless you have attained another level of nirvana where you're just okay with what's happening and how you are as a person. But there is this little hunger within everyone, that I want to be better, or I want to be this way, I want to be that way. So I think we should kind of not be that harsh on ourselves, and cherish that part of us, instead of just um throwing sticks and stones in it and picking it apart, and just being very critical at times, which I myself am guilty of. So yeah, I think that's a great reminder from you.
If I may put two things you said and
Yeah.
separate those. One is fear. Okay. When we were kids, fear was used to put boundaries around. Don't go to that room, dark, ghost is there, something. Okay.
Mm.
But as we grew, I realized fear does not exist. Okay? Fear is like that older brother or sister who cares about me, worries about me. Arjun, I want you to be safe. Like I feel fear is cute. Okay? I feel fear is a dare. I want to push fear, use fear to move forward. Second, the thing that you talked about also, I think is so important, is self-love and how we look at ourselves in the past. Okay. I did it myself. I see friends of mine say the worst thing possible to themselves. Okay. Like if I said any of those things to that person, they would have smacked me. Okay. But we give ourselves license to say anything we want in public. Okay.
Mm.
So, I have put a few rules there. Rule number one, I won't say anything to myself that I won't tell my best friend. Very important. Okay.
Okay.
Second, I've also realized that self-doubt about the past, Arjun, you could have, should have, would have done all these things, is garbage. Like behind me, let's say there's a door. That's past. I will only go to the past for two things: to go and get learning and celebration. That's it. I will not go to the past to change. Like the moment during this interview, if I'm thinking the question that you asked me 8 minutes back, how
Mm.
do I make that question better? My mind is not here. My mind goes there. So I cannot answer this question. So be in the present, go to the past only to get learning. And as you start go through what will I celebrate, that's it. And having the discipline. Am I perfect? No. But at least having the discipline, if I can do it 80% of the time, that's more than zero. So that's the, but being kind to yourself is very important. Like the self-bashing, it's not right, not fair. We deserve better.
I think self-love is the toughest form of love to ever conquer. You can still love a person, you can love an animal, you can love an object also, but it's very rare for people to realize the potential of self-love that they can hold. And, not just realize that, but also put it in practice. And I think it's a lifelong process as well, because um, what I was 10 years back is very different from who I am right now. And there has been, I think, like a dearth of growth would be an understatement. But
Mhm.
there has been a lot of transformative experiences of my own, which have, shaped me who I am right now. And it will continue so till my last day. So I think self-love should be part of your daily routine, and it should be as mundane as, just picking up the brush and brushing your teeth in the morning. It should, yeah, like you don't put much thought to it. It should just be done.
I want to add a few things there.
Yeah.
It's not lack of self-love, is the magnitude. Okay. I asked this question in a survey. I've asked people that if Aishwarya, you go 100 miles or kilometer for your best friend or the person you love most, how far do you go for yourself? I still haven't found a single person who has crossed 50%. Okay. I've not found a person who said 100%. Okay. And now
Mhm.
think of the magnitude gap that is there. There are two people, your best friend and Aishwarya. You love your best friend 100, and Aishwarya gets 30%, 20%. Like that is huge. And one of the things I have started is when you talked about brushing your teeth every morning, it reminded me. There are times I want to stare at myself on the mirror or with a Zoom call just by myself. And I want to thank that Arjun. Hey, I'm here. You may have screwed up. You're goofy, but you got me till here. Like just pausing to be comfortable because so many of us, we are not comfortable. We look at each other, we think we don't look good, we are fat, we are this. Who cares? Like that, we don't want to see. No, I want to look at myself.
Mm.
And we have been wired in our society that if you try to take care of yourself, you're selfish, bad person. No, I want to think about when Aishwarya goes to the grocery store, she buys things for everybody. What is one thing Aishwarya bought for herself? Maybe she bought this Cadbury chocolate she likes once a month. It's a good thing. Aishwarya rewarding. Like, what is Aishwarya doing once a week, once a month, once a year for herself is not selfish. It's self love. And as you said brilliantly, Aishwarya will be with Aishwarya and her best friend till the last day of your life, guaranteed. So, what do you do with that friendship?
Yeah. I think that gap that you're referring to gets bridged um, slightly when, during tough situations. Like, for example, maybe this is not the most accurate one, but off the top of my head, when you get a fever or a cold, you're instantly grateful for when you could breathe before and you don't have to deal with a blocked nose.
Yeah,
So, when one finds themselves in tough situations or when their limits are tested, I feel like that automatically, invariably, just becomes a callback for our potential, our skills, or just, like our qualities. And you feel a sense of gratefulness or gratitude. But is it necessary to always hit the roof to realize that, or is there a way to kind of realize your potential and magnitude for practicing self love even on a daily basis? Because in the long run, I don't think anyone should subject themselves to pain just to realize that they are also capable of receiving or practicing that.
absolutely.
Practicing
And the whole
love.
thing connected that
Yeah.
what happens in life, whether adversity comes, you don't control. But that day, it's your self love that will raise you, help you raise your hand and ask for help. Okay. Because you know you deserve the love and the help. Okay. And I also want to take something you talked about gratitude. Like
Hmm.
right now, I made some cold coffee, I'm drinking this. Okay.
Hmm.
Just imagine if I was drinking water, most of us don't take the simplest of things and appreciate that. I would have never appreciated the fact I can drink water or cold coffee. Okay. 2008, when I had the big jaw surgery, they put it in the movie, and Shujit did an amazing job talking about it. I could not drink water for nearly 20, 25 days. Okay. IV was there, everything else. And Ashwarya, those days, when I would have see anybody drink water, I would think, wow, one day I will drink water. That water will be so special. I'll put a cucumber, a lime, and maybe an orange slice on it. Oh, that water. Like I could dream about that water, and just thinking about that water, I could feel the bubbles. Okay? And the
Hmm.
first time I drank, half the water fell because I was drooling. The surgery, I was not fully healed, but it felt good. Like since then, I have learned what else do you have that you need to appreciate, and don't wait till you lose it to appreciate. Because think for a second. Now that's the way to feel self-love. That's the way to feel good. Is if tomorrow you and I and rest of us here listening can start feeling good about every person, everything around us, our net worth, net value increases like crazy. We
Yeah.
start smiling. Like, I'm just happy thinking about what else can I do. I can talk. There are days I used to worry I won't be able to talk. Like feeling gratitude for water, talking makes me one of the richest people on the planet.
Yeah. That is true. When you have to, at least in your case, rebuild parts of yourself from scratch, where even drinking water becomes, like a miraculous event, and you feel grateful. I think that really shifts your perspective, and you start seeing the smaller things, and you start extending your gratitude for that. You don't tend to take anything for granted, or miss out on the smaller things that enrich your lives that way.
And you feel good about every small thing. So think today, if you start feeling good about 2,000 tiny things, when you go to bed tonight, you will be like this from deep inside. Your heart would be smiling when you go through, and it's all around. All we have to do is grab happiness from everywhere, and boom, 2,000 moments of happiness.
That is true. One more thing which I also feel, why people struggle with realizing their potential of self-love is they disguise it under the word of independence. I feel like, maybe in your case also, because you were diagnosed when you were much younger. So there is a sense of self-worth and independence and pride that everyone has. And when that gets flipped and you essentially have to rely on, people or a system or any other source of support, so there is a slight conflict going within you where you feel like, of course, I need help. And of course, this is something that I want. But a part of you also feels guilty for asking that help in the first place. So, how did you deal with it? And any kind of advice you can give for someone who, not in a similar situation, obviously, but is kind of grappling with such a dilemma on a day-to-day basis?
There's a balance there, because what I realized is I lived in denial for a long time. Other than core family, very close, I did not talk about it, because what I realized when I talked about my ailment, I heard it. Many a time, people's love and word came to me like empathy, sympathy, freaking me out. I saw death in their eyes. I couldn't deal with it. Okay? I had to evolve to a place to get to a point where earlier I used to worry about if cancer comes back, but then I evolved to when cancer comes back, I'll be ready. Okay. Then I could talk. But the second thing also is very important is many a time it's our lack of love and self-confidence which makes us fake things. Okay. Like imagine if right now, if I have zero money in my wallet and I'm at a friend's place, if I tell him, hey, I have no money, I forgot my wallet, person can help me. Why lie about it? Like the pseudo thing that we portray sometimes. I'm all right. Like, think we are in a society on a given day, at least 50 to 100 times we ask people, how are you? Are we wired to hear that person saying, hey, Arjun, I'm not doing too good? No. I'm wired to hear, hey, good, how are you? Good, we move on. Okay. Creating that environment where somebody can share, hey, Aishwarya, can you stop for a second? I wish you could just take 2 minutes to hear. I'm just, something's going on, like not having the best day. Just, I don't know what it is. Like you pausing for me for 2 minutes and I feeling I deserve it. The whole thing is connected. And I just feel that that's the part about, it's very important because when the big crisis will hit us, in life, crisis will always come.
Yeah.
That is the process. To me, the process for me is in a crisis, I always start with appreciation, who all are in my life. I start preparing, and then I start celebrating the smallest thing in life. Last night, I went to bed, put 4 alarms because I'm talking to the Think League team. Aishwarya, I had a great pre-conversation. Like this morning, the moment the alarm went, I jumped out of bed because I was wired, excited about this interview. Life is all about is feel excited, and that drives you into action. Take that one step forward, one step, one step.
I mean, that's great to hear. I'm glad that you were excited to come. And it's really sweet, to see that your perspective in life, i- you know, especially after going through such a transformative experience, is still very positive. Your outlook is still, trying to see the silver lining in things. And like you said, you just collect the happy thoughts and the happy events around you and kind of reinforce your positive energy in a way, which I think you're practicing on a daily basis, which and which all of us, including the audience, can pick up. So yeah, that's really sweet. And
I had one thing on positivity,
yeah.
just like self-love and selfishness, we have been wired. Society wants us to be 100% positive all the time. And I was finding a lot of pressure because I'm a human being. Okay. If I don't hear from my brother for a few days, my feelings get hurt. I'm a human. My positivity goes down. But then one day, when I was putting petrol in my car, I realized the only time my car is full of gas or petrol is when I fill it. Rest of the time, it could be half a tank, one third tank, little gas. It doesn't matter. As long as I have some petrol, some gas, and know where to refuel, I'm totally cool. So now I'm totally wired to the point where I don't have to be 100% positive. I'm human. I can have some negativity, but as long as I have some positivity to move me forward and where to charge, my recharge is I call my daughter to a FaceTime. My wife give me a hug. Little my Yuki, my dog comes and plays with me. Call my mom. Like friends are there. Like these are recharge. But that positivity, you don't have to be 100% positive. You don't. That's too much pressure. Think if you have to be 100% positive, 100% happy all the time, you have set yourself up for failure. It doesn't work. We are humans. And that part is, I've taken the pressure out of life that I don't have to be 100%. Little positivity, good for Arjun. Like Arjun gets 10% positivity, check mark. Two stickers for Arjun that day.
I think that's a great point because everything needs to be in balance. I feel like we have these basket of emotions for a reason, and we have to be in touch with all of them. We just can't um, rely on a constant hit of serotonin and oxytocin and just expect that to keep our machine moving. We need everything because everything has a certain part to play, certain role to perform. And without that, obviously the system crumbles, which is why even our mind, if it's constantly being badgered to be under, like this blanket of positivity, whether it's by us or whether it's by people around us, yeah, it gets tiring. And then I think you become wavered in a way. You forget the whole point of, uh, whatever you're dealing with or what you want to overcome. So do you think?
Ashwarya, this is becoming an amazing Arjun interviewing Aishwarya. Because incredible wisdom. Okay? That unwavering that you talked about
Yeah.
is where we live with constant validation or need for validation for others. Okay? Input from others are important. But if I have to decide what I should wear, what I should eat, what I should do based on others, like there's this amazing Woody Allen movie called Zelig. Zelig is a character. When Zelig goes to different places, his need to conform, he changes. When he is with Jewish folks, he becomes Jewish. When he's with short people, he becomes short. When he's with fat people, he changes. And Woody Allen just makes this dramatic to show. And that movie, when I saw that, it was so important that I'm not Zelig. I don't want to be Zelig. I want to be Arjun. Arjun is the same Arjun, but that validation that we sometimes feel we need, no, that I think deviates us from being Arjun Aishwarya.
That's really sweet. And I'm glad that like you're enjoying my thoughts because I'm being very frank here and I'm just shooting whatever is coming across because I feel like you exude a lot of wisdom. So who better to ask than you, like right here, right now.
But give yourself credit too. You're a very wise soul too. So let's give yourself a little self-love, little credit, or a lot of credit because you're asking a lot of amazing questions and making me think. Thank you.
Continuing the flow of amazing questions, um, do you think positivity is inversely proportional to inner strength? Are they different? Are they the same? Because a lot of people, I feel like either tend to confuse them to be the same or they have a strong argument for the fact that they are the same thing. Or, like, what is your perspective on these kinds of things? Because you, again, like, you have literally come from the mouth of death. And obviously, there has been a lot of other experiences in your life post that too, which I think shaped you as a person today. So, what is your stance on this?
But to me, I think the sequence is very important. Okay? Inner strength, you have to understand that we are human beings. I can talk about myself. There have been at least 5 or 10 occasions when I was done. I gave up because as humans, we are fragile and we all have a breaking point. Okay? And once we get there and you keep that human in that breaking point for enough amount of time, we break. I broke. But what I realized was there's a we world. From me world to we world is positivity. And that's the part where every time you give me credit, I want to go back and rephrase. Only thing I did was ask for help. Help came my way. That is the secret. That's the superpower. And in that journey, positivity gives you hope. Hope means, is there a path? But there's still doubt. But when help comes, hope becomes belief. Belief has no doubt. Belief is that when you are putting your hand up, in my case, in the marathon, 22.5 miles, in the movie too, they have shown it. When my daughter says, Baba, cholo, beautiful words, cholo, Baba, cholo. Okay. And I gave my hand, knowing that when she holds, I will pull using with total belief. And that's the transition. But it starts with positivity. Strength will go up and down. We are humans. But positivity starts with hope. Hope gives belief. And with belief, we take the one step forward with determination. And then the journey happens. I ran a marathon, 65,500 steps. Impossible. 26.2 miles. But my whole journey was take one step. And the concept is simple. Like tomorrow, let's say you and your family come over to my place. My wife Chitra makes amazing payasam. Even if you're hungry, even if you're full, unless you're allergic to payasam, you can have one spoonful. You can. You can take one step. Like that's the part, but you taking that step with confidence, it starts with positivity, hope, belief, one step, and boom, Arjun finished a marathon. It took me 6 hours, 12 minutes. Maybe a world record for the slowest marathon, but who cares? Finish. That's it.
No, no, I have immense respect for people who do marathons, and I think it's the reason why you even did it. And like you said, hope, positivity, belief, they're all just elements that lead to each other. And that became like an exercise or an outlet for you to feel that in person, because these are all intangible concepts. So that form of catharsis comes when you do something which requires some kind of physical strength or some kind of handsy stuff, like you have to make art or you have to run or you have to do something like that, which just becomes like a nice reminder that I'm here, I'm present, and I can feel my strength, not just physical, but that inner strength which is literally guiding you along. So yeah.
Those were the 4 strengths that you're talking about when
Hmm.
I did marathon, which before that I only run 10.7 miles. Going
Okay.
from 10.7 to 26.2 really put 4 energies of my life together: my physical, my mind, my heart, and my social. Social, the
Hmm.
people, like all 4 together created this amazing spark and magic. For the rest of my life, I can literally source from there and pushing beyond. Like today, when I look back, I say, stupid Arjun, why would you do it? On the other side, I pat myself by saying, I'm so glad you did it, buddy. And you made it. That is the biggest part.
Yeah, I think that pat on the back is something that I really want to pick up from you and try to inculcate in my daily routine too. Because, like I said, I'm guilty of not acknowledging how far I've come, or, like there are much better things that I can look forward to, and I just tend to focus on either the sad or the negative, or I forget about it. So,
And
yeah.
my request to everyone listening is 2 things. Please allocate time for yourself. And during that time, simple rule: Do not say a single thing to yourself that you would not tell your best friend. Those are true rules. Like if you allocate, it's a relationship, which means you have to have a time once a week, once a day, 30 seconds. Smile, say something nice. That's it.
Yeah, that's true. Every relationship takes effort. That includes even the
Share a
relationship
big
with
secret. I want
yourself.
to share a secret with you. I want to share a secret with you.
Yeah, yeah.
I send text to myself. I do. WhatsApp I can, but on text, on iPhone I can. Arjun,
Okay.
I did good today. We did good today. This happened. I didn't click. I send, and the best part is when I send the message, I know it's crazy and I have a smile on my face. That's it. Think it didn't cost me anything. I found happiness just by texting myself. Not bad.
I think that's your way of journaling, right?
Yeah.
Because you're that becomes like a nice reminder to yourself. It also
Mhm.
becomes like a conversation with yourself, and also you are able to jot down what actually happened.
Yeah.
Because, like I mentioned earlier, we tend to forget there's so many things happening throughout the day. And, at night when your head hits the pillow, I feel like there's this slight amnesia that hits you, and you're just like, I don't know what happened, but I just got through the day and I just want to get done with it.
Mhm.
So this is like a nice, small reminder that, oh, this happened, that happened, and don't forget about it, at least not today.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Finish with the thought, I did good tonight. I did good today. It's not that I went through the day, blah, 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 blah. No, I did good. One thing, just now go to bed, Arjun.
You mentioned earlier that about your cancer journey. Initially, you were just comfortable sharing it with your core family, obviously, and they were with you throughout that entire time. So, what made you change your mind or what was that point you had reached where you felt comfortable to, share your story with the rest of the world, including people like myself? And, like how, that became a movie, and Abhishek Bachchan decided to hop onto the project. Shujit Sarkar came onto the project. So, how did you transition from not wanting to speak about it to, just making that wearing that like a badge of honor and saying that this is something that happened and I conquered it and I'm proud of it, and the whole unquit journey that you have been on.
Two things happened. One is when cancer came back, that's the time I realized that not talking about it is not the path to keeping it away, which means let's accept it that I move from if cancer comes back to when cancer comes back. And that changed the reality as you go through. Second, the movie, there was no plan. Okay? And it was a random conversation started in a podcast. Shujit Sarkar and myself, we became friends. From friends, he became my baby brother. He calls me Ojunda. And COVID comes and we talked. We talked for like, I don't know, 100, 200 hours on Zoom calls. Okay. And only when he came back and told me there's a movie he's thinking about, I could not believe. I thought it was a prank. And I asked him, finally, when it got serious, I asked him why. And his biggest thing was there are people, whose life there'll be a movie. Virat Kohli. Amazing story of this man, the ups and downs, how he has gone through. I want to know his life. Okay. But on the other side, there are people like any one of us. He wanted to find an average person, Aam Admi, who has gone through life with ups and downs, with no superpower other than the people in his life. And he also thought I was funny. That I really is important to me because my daughter doesn't think I'm funny. And that's the way the project started. Was Shujit saw, he I think had a vision to communicate. I was just a subject matter that he used to tell the story of an average person going through challenges, but he also, being a cool dad, saw the role of the daughter, the other people in my life, and strangers. And I'm so glad Abhishek Bachchan jumped into the project. And working with him was, seeing him work. I didn't do any work, so I didn't. Was amazing to see how seriously he took it, how deep he went, how kind a human being he is. And of course, I never got a chance to ask him, but I always wondered. as a dad, what was he thinking? Like a lot of reflections must have happened because on one side he's getting in the role and outside, but on the other side, he also as a daughter, they are very private. That should be that's their life. But I always wondered for a dad to get into this role, it must have changed him, evolved. So, but it was really a fun project to watch everybody build this story together.
How did it feel when you saw the movie come to life on screen? And, of course, the other people in your life who saw themselves, like your daughter, especially because I think the movie does a great job of capturing that special bond that you have with your daughter and how you both, went through those ups and downs and kind of emerged as winners through that entire experience. So, how did she feel?
Yeah, first of all, for me personally, when I saw the movie, I freaked out because I have gone through challenges one at a time. In the movie, seeing all of those, like if somebody told me, Arjun, you'll have 20 plus surgeries, this, that, I would have said, come on, time over, game over. I'm not doing it. Seeing them all together. And the second thing I realized also during the filming of the movie, all of these people knew how the movie ends. I didn't. And that is a total different perspective. If I knew that in 2024 January, Arjun will sit somewhere. 2025 August, I'll sit and do an interview with you. I would have traveled totally differently, but not knowing, and with the 100 days. And finally, in the movie, there's this concept of cut. Let's do another take. Life doesn't give you a second take. Like my doctors, I wish they had a second take sometimes. With my daughter, Raka, from day one, she being so mature and evolved, she wanted a little separation. She wanted me to go tell the story. She's fully supportive. She was there every step to support me. But she wanted her independence. She doesn't want, and rightfully so, to be defined by me, to be defined by my daughter. I am her dad. Let's be the hierarchy of the organization, be very clear. So the name changed, and Shujit was very respectful. And her direct mannerisms, this, that, everything was not brought into the movie. So there was a separation. And of course, when she saw, Shujit's version of the story is little different. And, Raka felt that in our life, she's funnier. I'll give you an example of how cool and funny Raka is. Night before a surgery, I have 3 cysts. My amazing daughter comes, lays down next to me, puts her hand in my belly, on my belly, and says, Baba, tomorrow they'll be out. My 3 brothers. Namkaran to hona chahiye. Let's name them. She names them night before the surgery. Pete, Peter, and the third one is Repeater. Okay. Years later, I was hurting. There was this big cyst, like a water balloon inside, which was growing daily to the point where it was putting pressure. It was like 15, 17 pounds when it came out. Okay?
Oh.
We are waiting. How can we expedite the surgery in that environment? That my amazing daughter says, Baba, this one is kind of bigger. His name should be Shaquille O'Neal. Shaquille O'Neal Sen. Okay. And again, that's what's important is, Aishwarya, even in the toughest times, either you or people in your life, if they can throw a little laughter, positivity, smile in you, that changes the whole thing. Like the pain, it's bizarre. I don't take painkillers, but without taking painkillers, those 5 minutes, the only pain I felt was trying to laugh at Shaquille O'Neal Sen inside me. And that's my daughter. The movie didn't go that much there because, Shujit in 2 hours had to tell a story. And so it created a lot of conversation between Raka and me.
Your daughter does have a very amazing sense of humor. I agree with her. Because I don't think anyone would have thought of naming your cysts and kind of diffusing the situation that way. But yeah, she's a trooper, really.
I'm very lucky.
Okay, so I'll just start the rapid fire section, and maybe we can have a couple of questions from the community as well. It's been buzzing quite a bit, So, one at a time,
Absolutely.
we'll get to that. Yeah. So, what is a quote that you live by?
Pain is a promise life always keeps, but life also throws ice cream at the end of every meal.
Whose quote is this?
I don't know. Somewhere I left, found different things, added, blended, made it mine.
Okay. It's a nice quote, actually. Yeah. What was your favorite scene from the movie? Because you mentioned that obviously there have been creative liberties taken with the story there. So, what was something that you liked with which Shujit decided to do for the film?
Yeah, mile 22.5, when I'd given up, and they show the scene where Abhishek is sitting on the sidewalk. Rhea comes over and says, Chalo Baba Chalo. And then Abhishek puts his hand by saying, Help me. That to me, really, every time I saw that scene, I cried. And of course, at the end, when Rhea describes her dad, just like a daughter would do, every time there's a compliment, there's this thing that I wish dad spent more time. Like those two were moments that, to confess, every time I watch, I cry.
That's very sweet. And I'm glad that these small things made the cut because
Mhm.
that's the sweet moments that's the realistic moments I think that made the film what it is.
Absolutely.
If you could describe your approach to life in 3 words, what would it be?
Smile, appreciate, and celebrate.
Lovely.
Thank you.
And if there's any advice you could give to anyone who maybe has someone in the family or if they themselves are going through any tough medical challenges, what would it be?
Be present. Quoting the Aishwarya Iyer, make the person feel seen. You don't have to solve the problem. You're not God yet. Be present and help the person see where we can go together. Okay. Life will take its course. We will get there. But show the picture, show the thing, be the Nancy, show Arjun that he's a winner, philanthropist, author, marathon runner. And once you show Arjun that picture, Arjun becomes dangerously powerful. Superpower comes to Arjun. But you have to be the Nancy to show Arjun what he can do.
That's great advice.
Thank you.
Okay, I'll pick up some questions from the community. Um, so Anjali is asking, what's one part of your story that the film script could not capture?
The film did not go into how Arjun was paying for all this. Okay? Because as all these are happening, I don't have the luxury of $1 billion saying I have to work every day. And that's the part where professional life, I had to do more things in fewer times. And what I realized, some of the best work I ever did where life's perspective changed. But everybody else was worried about a crisis. I could be in the board meeting with one of the biggest pharmacy brands and dare to change the tagline, which has been there for 100 plus years. Okay?
Hmm.
And I think that's what helps you when you become not fearless, fear free. When you play, just like if this was T20 cricket and you get that free hit, you play all out knowing that you won't, there's nothing to worry about. So to me, I think that's the part. It's not in the movie because it's, they could not go into every aspect of my life.
Hmm.
Or corporate world, it really changed how I come into the corporate world. I can pause in a crisis. I can see things what others don't because this has been a gift and opened my mind.
Yeah, I think that's a great and very underrated skill to have, which is compartmentalizing things in your life. Because you essentially draw a boundary and you say that there's not going to be any spillovers, whether it's my professional into my personal or vice versa. So I'm glad that that also, paid off for you and it was helpful during such a tough time because Otherwise, when morale is already so low, and when you're still on the paths to rebuild yourself, having this kind of a predicament makes things tougher. Not that you can't work through them, but it's just another I think example of your strong willpower and your inner strength. You can separate everything and just see them from a different perspective and be like, the solution A is for this and solution B is for this. So yeah, that's great. Mhm. Mm. Rahul is asking, what's one thing you hope people will feel after hearing your story?
They will appreciate themselves. They will take time to look at their own picture and say something nice. And most importantly, never say anything to yourself that you would not tell your best friend. That's the most important. Once that happens, positivity will come. Everything else will ladder up. But if that goes, and if you start telling Arjun, you deserve this, it's over. Verdict. Judge has said you deserve this. There's no self-love. There's no positivity. There's no rebuilding. Unquit journey starts with self-love. Positivity will come all to say that one nice thing.
Got it.
Thanks for the question. Great question, Rahul.
I wanted to ask a bit about your book, The Unquit Journey.
Yeah. The book is called Unquit Forever, and it was written during hospital days. So I was going through treatment, everything else, and every day I would go to the hospital a few hours before to write. And to me, it's literally a tribute to every person, everything in my life. And being in the hospital, I could see them much more clearly. I could see dimensions of Nancy. I could see the impact of every doctor. So Unquit Journey to me is literally reminding everybody a very simple fact. Me, human, fragile, vulnerable. We, strong. If I get into the we world, I source and I can make the we world stronger. So it's take, give, and that's what it is. And the second part also is to realize that every person has a story. You really have to go through and say, there could be a challenge Aishwarya faced. You felt when you got into the challenge, world's coming to an end, Everest leaning on you.
Mm-hmm.
But today you are in a conversation with me, and I'm fortunate and blessed because you found a way. Were you perfect? No, perfection is overrated. You found a way to get through the hurdle, your way to be here. Always going back and seeing that Aishwarya gives you boost and confidence that if that Aishwarya could bring me till here, that Aishwarya can do anything. Like this is a chant that I tell myself before I get into the big journey. Any situation I go in, my mind will bring me out because the mind will always be cancer free. And then this I don't say in public, but I just whisper to myself, it's tough being Arjun. Same way, you saying it's tough being Aishwarya. Something happens. That is important. Like we are all different. Let's celebrate a little shamelessly within ourselves. I'm not asking you to go and brag outside and put it on social, but I'm saying deep inside, if you can say, stop being Aishwarya. I'm an unquitter forever. And that's what the book is all about.
That's great. And congratulations on the book. And I'm really excited to grab a copy for myself. And I'm sure the audience would also love to get their hands on the book and, read more about such pearls of wisdom and other things that maybe even a 1 hour talk like Thinkly may not be able to do justice to because your life is, the experiences that you have lived are surreal to say the least. So it's great that you have put everything in a book for all of us to consume and cherish. So congratulations.
I want to thank you. I want to thank Tinkley because my journey is all about touching one person. And today you gave me an opportunity to share with more than one person. And if we can together help one person be a little more positive, see things a little differently, the world today, as we all go to our own beds and, as you say, put the head on the pillow, we would have made the world a little better. And I think that's the journey. Again, thank you, Thinkly. Thank you, Aishwarya, for an amazing opportunity and an amazing conversation.
Thank you so much, sir. The pleasure is all mine, the honor is all mine. And I'm so grateful that I got this opportunity to sit down with you and hear all of this directly from you. And it's safe to say that I think you have made my day much better. And you've made the day of our audience also much better. And I think they will log off with a lot of positive thoughts as well. So thank you so much and all the best. I hope you come back on Thinkly for another talk.
Anytime. Thank you.
Thank you so much, everyone, for joining in. See you on the next talk.